I'm scared. Is anyone out there? I'm scared. Is anyone out there? Damn. I'm scared. Is anyone out there?
I gotta say it very stern. What the fuck is up, y'all? This is the Halloweenville podcast, and we are here with not Nevada, but Las Vegas legend. Okay, one more time. We're what the fuck is up?
What the fuck is up, Denny's? What the fuck is up? What the fuck is up, Denny's? Okay.
All right, what the fuck is up, Denny's / Halloweenville? We are here with Las Vegas legend Vicious Vampira, and this interview is super fucking overdue because one of the first things I ever did on the Halloweenville page was make an edit for the one and only Vicious Vampira. How the fuck are you?
I'm doing great. I'm great. Fantastic. All of the above, everything. I'm great.
Make sure
And drunk.
I'm not.
No, I'm buzzed. Type shit.
Make sure to have it really close.
Oh, like super, like I gotta be like ASMR type shit. Like
not too close, but you're like just make sure.
good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I can fuck with the
Okay.
sound levels too.
Okay.
You're good. I'm just making sure. We're gonna get into the very normie questions for the ones that don't know. What is the origin of the name Vicious Vampira?
So, my last couple years of high school, I started taking my art seriously because I used to do custom pieces, tattoo designs, all that. And I used to go by Gnarly Pixie, which does not match my vibe or nothing. So when I graduated high school, I kind of just fell off the face of the earth. I stopped contact with everybody, deleted all my social media. And I decided to come back around 2018, late 2018, in October, actually, funny. So I was like, what should my name be? And, I was like, I don't want to go by my old name because it didn't feel like it resonated with me. So I was like, let me think. I'm like, what word can I describe myself that I haven't seen many people use? And I was like, okay, vicious, that's cool. I'm like, all right, I can rock with that. And I was like, I can't just be called Vicious though. So I was like, what else about me can I put into my name? So it just kind of took me back to my childhood. I'm mixed race, so my mom's side of the family is indigenous and Hispanic, and I used to get picked on because my skin tone, because my dad's white, so I was the light-skinned one out of my family, and they'd always be like, oh, you're a vampire. And my Hispanic fans, when I told them that joke, they'd be like, oh, Vampira. So it kind of was just like, what I grew up being called, like, as a joke. But I was like, I actually kind of like how that sounds. Vicious Vampira sounds really good. And I didn't start making music till like 2021. So like that came after, but I was just using that name for like my art, my clothing brand. And, the rest is history with that, honestly.
So you bring up like this started as like a clothing brand, like, so this is a name that you went by before you ever made music. Like what was that? Like I saw in some of the research I've done, like you made merch for other artists. Was it just like an Instagram name you used, or like?
Yeah, it was my Instagram name, and I just kind of was like, well, fuck it, like, if this is me, I might as well market it as like my business, and I was selling my own art on my clothes. Shout out Damasi, RIP too. That was my homie. He was actually the one who showed me the whole like DIY clothing scene back then, and he kind of taught me how to screen print. Like he was the one who told me, you need to put your art on clothes. And I was like, who's gonna buy my stuff? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just, and he was just like, just do it. I didn't think anybody would buy my stuff. And, I started selling some little pieces on my website. I made my own website at 19, was selling my stuff. And I got connected in like the underground scene because APOC Crisis followed me. I don't know. I still don't know how he found my Instagram. Like it was just, I just made art. Like I had nothing to do with music, but he kind of opened the door for me with like underground artists and like getting into that scene. Like I already was in the SoundCloud, vibe, but like not with like actual like underground, smaller artists. And that's how I got connected with Misery Mob. And Misery Mob was the first collective that reached out to me to not only do their first logo, but their merch drop too, because they seen I was doing my own merch and had my own shit going on, and we kind of collabed. And I just think it's funny, because like they asked me to do stuff for them with art, and then a couple years later, I ended up being in the group, So it's just weird how things work out. But yeah, I just was doing art, my clothes for a long time, and that's kind of how it happened. And when I started making music, I was like, fuck it, I might as well just go by the same name. I'm not gonna make up a whole new name, But yeah, the rest is, that's the basic of it,
Is there any you bring all that up, but like there's a key thing that I've always taken from, at least when it comes to your name, maybe not your music and your aesthetic, maybe a little bit of your aesthetic of the Vampira. Is there any influence when it came to that, or is it just?
Oh yeah, most definitely, yeah. I love her, and out of all like the vintage horror icons, like I really liked her because like not a lot of people like really give her flowers, I guess. Like everyone's always like Morticia, Elvira, the basic. I mean, not trying to be like, oh, you're basic, but like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of fall more into like the vampire vibe, I guess. I don't know as corny as that sounds, but yeah, she definitely is one of my influences. Not only like just personality wise, but just everything really, because like she was the first one to do her thing in her lane, and like I said, like probably one of like the original like horror icons, there wouldn't be a Morticia or an Elvira literally without her. So, I kind of resonate with that too a lot because I feel like I'm an underdog, and like people look over me or like, in that sense. So like, I definitely would say like she's definitely a big inspiration with me and my name too. But like personally, with how I grew up, that's kind of how my name came up. But yeah, for sure. I'll give her flowers for that for sure.
Have you ever seen Plan 9 from Outer Space or any of the actual Vampira or Vampira show?
I've watched a couple of them on YouTube and stuff. Like I'm not like just like fake fan. Like I actually enjoy the movies, even though they're kind of cringe and corny. But it's just they're so old. Like. But yeah, I really like especially the Planet 9 one. I actually want to do a music video one day when I have like, big budget, something like inspired like by that movie. I really like the aesthetic, the vibe, and so yeah, like I definitely, she's key influence in my vibe and all that,
Every day you are fumbling a bag but not using that scream I found. You have to use that.
Like I said, when I can and will, like, because that's why everyone always asks me, oh, when's the Cabin Fever music video coming out? Like, I have such a set idea for certain things. Like, I don't want to just rush it because a lot of my music videos are very off the top, DIY, no plan, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, with like the direction I want to go for future wise, like, yeah, I really like want to like actually set something in place where it's like, good quality, like full creative vision of, what I want. And yeah, I just need to find the time, place, budget for that. So anybody want to invest, hit me up.
You brought up being involved with Misery Mob initially through the artwork you were making. This might be like kind of a two-part question. Is there actually, Dever, we'll get back into the Misery Mob stuff. Is there any notable artwork that you did when you were like initially making like art or merch or anything that is like really important to you, like when it comes to your journey into who the artist you are now?
Most definitely when I did the logo for Leatherface, he was also a cover artist for several underground artists, and a lot of people who have blown up have his little stamp that he made the cover art that I drew. So like my art is on a bunch of people's cover art that they probably don't even know or realize it was me who made that logo for Leatherface, but I did like 2 variations, and it's the Leatherface mask with the cross chainsaws. But yeah, that's me. So if you ever see any cover art with that on it, that's me. That it's his stamp, but it's really me, you know? So I would say, yeah, like my art is on a bunch of people's cover art. You know, just it's crazy. And like Misery Mob even used the skull logo too on a couple of their pieces. So like my art is on other people's art, you know, and I feel like I may have gotten into like the music scene kind of. I'm still new to this in a way, you know, but I've been around for a long time, and I think it's kind of cool. It's like an Easter egg thing, you know what I'm saying? Like when people like are like, oh, I like this song, and like I see like the Leatherface little logo or like the Misery Mob logo, and I'm like, that was me. Like that was me. Like I did that, you know? So it kind of I've been a part of this whole scene technically with a lot of people, and not only helping Leatherface with his own logo where he can, you know, stamp of approval, I made this cover art, but like that's me, you know? Like he wouldn't have that without me. And I hand drew it, painted it, everything. Same thing with the Misery Mob logo. And yeah, like I feel like I'm very much a big staple in this underground scene with that. When it comes to that, like I've been around, and that's kind of how a lot of artists know who I am, because I made art. But yeah, it's just the pipeline I went through with doing art to music is just, it still blows my mind to this day, because I didn't expect half of this to even happen. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm sorry, I ramble. But
No, I mean,
yeah, that's genuinely how I feel. Like it's just crazy. It's crazy. All this is crazy.
more specifically, I've seen it in merch, and I mean, you literally have it as your chest piece when it comes to your split heart tattoo. Like that's something you designed, right?
Yeah, I designed this piece because somebody in a band, I'm not going to say who, but the drummer of a really big metal band hit me up like, hey, I want to start a clothing line. Can you design me some, you know, pieces? And he was like, I want a yin and yang broken heart, and all this and that. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll see what I can do. And, you know, I did a couple other designs for him, and I sent it to him, and he never got back to me. And then he started using other artists for his merch. So I was like, hey, are you going to use any of these? Because I kind of actually like this one specific one. And he was like, oh yeah, it's cool. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm just not interested. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And around the time I did it was when my friend Damasi died, and I actually have his logo tattooed on my hand. That really like affected me, because, you know, without him, you know, he lived in Florida, so it was a complete internet connection, you know. So it's like, but without him believing in me first, like, hey, you should drop your merch on your art on merch, and, you know, all that, like I really wouldn't be me right now. Like, you know, I'm still me, but like, you know, that push of someone believing in me, you know, like I never had that before. So like, yeah, I was really hurt, but at the end of the day, you know, I know his soul and who he was as a person. He wouldn't want me to be upset or to give up on my dream. So, and he always told me, oh, I'm gonna get one of your designs tattooed on my face. I'm gonna rock it. And he had his logo tatted on his face. So I was like, you know what? Like, in honor of him and for myself, like I'm stamping this. I'm stamping me as my approval, you know? And like, with the bad that came out of him passing away, it really, like, you know, the good in it kind of was like, I need to keep going for him and everybody else who's, you know, hasn't made it in my life, you know? And I don't mean to get all deep and emotional and shit, but like yin and yang, you know, it's like the whole origin behind that is, you know, there's the good and the bad and the good, and that's just life, you know? So yeah, and I put it on my heart because it's like that this shit means everything to me. Art has always meant the world to me. Like, I've never felt like something disconnected to me in my life. So when I found music too, it kind of just was like, yeah, I love this shit, and this really is like what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing, you know? So that's the little story behind that. But ever since I put this on my chest, it's like, it's kind of like metaphorically too, like if you're gonna do something, you gotta speak it with your chest, you gotta feel it with your chest, you gotta believe in that, you know? So like, it's a very like important thing to me, and it's not only like my personal logo, but like this shit's me, you know? And I've actually had someone tattoo my logo on them, and I'm not that type of person where it's like, oh, you're stealing my tattoo, but like I know like the story behind it, and when I tell people it, I feel like they feel connected, and it's like, you know, I'm not gonna shit on anybody who wants to take my logo and be like, oh, I want this on me too. It's like, you know, more power to you, because like this is on me. If you got this on you, you protected. So that's your stamp of approval. But yeah, that's the little story of that. Shit, I almost teared up. Fuck. All right, next question.
Being so involved with the art space / underground art space, what was the factor? I'm just assuming you obviously fucked with everybody's music and the kind of genre and what everybody was doing. What made you decide that you're like, you know what, I need to start dropping tracks myself?
That's a funny story. I seen that Coast from Misery Mob was like, oh, he posted on his story, oh, we're gonna announce 2 new members in Misery Mob. And at the time it was Davey and Inertia. And I jokingly slid up and I was like, oh, am I finally gonna be indicted in the mob? You know, because I had done all their merch sales. I was selling all their merch. I did their first ever logo. Like I gave them like the face of, you know, Misery Mob. And I was a joke. It was a joke. I was like joking. And, you know, I love them and all that, but I was not like I don't know shit about music. So it's like, they added me into the group chat, not even like 5 minutes later. They're like, get in the call right now. And I remember Teddy being on the the group call, and he was like, dude, make music. He was like, make music, Vicious. He was like, make music. And then I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like, I just draw. I was like, what do you guys mean? And they're like, no, like, are you serious? Because there was a couple of female artists who tried to be in Misery Mob, and no tea, no shade, but it's true. But like, it didn't work out. And I kind of like that was kind of like, that was making me feel like I don't want to step on no toes or make anybody feel like, oh, I'm taking your spot, you know, like type shit. But I was like, I don't know nothing about music, guys. I got anxiety. Like, I make art. I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, no, like, we'll show you like what you got to buy, like the basic stuff. We can show you how to get FL and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, Sly actually sent me my first ever beat, and that was Break Yourself. And once I got all my stuff, this was like in 2021, by the way. So like a couple years passed, right in the middle of COVID too. And I got all my stuff and I was like, all right, I'm ready to do this. And I made Break Yourself, dropped it on SoundCloud. I did not expect it to do well because everybody was like, the artist bitch is gonna start making music. Like, yeah, okay. And you know, a lot of my friends and, you know, people in Misery Mob too had been doing this for a long time. So I was like, fuck, I really gotta, like, you know, I can't just pussy out of this shit. And like, Break Yourself got a really good reaction, and a lot of people were surprised that was me. And shit, ever since then, I just haven't stopped, because once it started, I was like, fuck, I can't stop now. Like, if I stop, I'm gonna look like a pussy or a fraud, you know? Like, I was like, I can't stop. And ever since then, it's just been track after track, boom, boom, boom. And like, I can't even believe I've made it this far, almost 3 years into this shit. But it's been a journey. I'll say that. Like, it's just crazy how just, you know, just a simple little, oh yeah, it's gonna be me, right? You know, like just a joke, like really turned into some shit. And like, that's why I'm grateful for all my friends, because like they always seen something in me and believed in me than when no one else did, you know? So like, yeah, that's how I kind of got introduced into the scene like that. It was just a joke.
Have you ever thought about making music beforehand, or was it just like the pressure of that?
Yeah. Like when I was little, I used to, perform karaoke, sing in front of like my stuffed animals and shit. I always looked up to female artists, and like I had an uncle who was in a couple bands, and my parents used to throw house shows. Like I always loved music. Like music was always in my life. I just grew up so shy and insecure. I was like, I could never be like that. And it was just like I was like, I couldn't be like that. I can't do that. I can't do that. I was like, that's why I was like, I'm gonna stick to art. I'm gonna be behind the scenes. And like I seen how like celebrities, like growing up, like seeing how they were treated by paparazzi, and like I was like, I cannot imagine being that known. Like I was like, that's a lot. Like I was like, I cannot do that. But yeah, I've always wanted to be in a band or make music. Like I really love Amy Winehouse. Like I love singing. Like that's one of my secrets that I'm not really too comfortable yet to share with the world. But yeah, I used to love singing, and I play guitar. I can play bass. But like, yeah, music has always been a part of my life. I just didn't see me doing it, and especially the rap. Like that caught my family so off guard. Like my mom always told me like, oh, I always knew you're gonna be a vocalist or be in a band, but the rap is kind of just like what, but they're supportive of it, so yeah, it's just wild.
What, after you got over the hurdle of like throwing yourself in the midst of making music, what is your main inspiration now when it comes to like making a song? Like, is it just like how you emotionally feel in the moment? Is it you trying to catch a vibe? Like,
I mean, at this point, it's basically just living out of spite of all the people who hate me and doubted me. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't give a shit. But yeah, I mean, every song I make comes from like a personal thing, whether it's something that happened years ago or I need to get it out, because I don't really talk about my feelings or issues I have unless it's like, it affects everybody in a sense, like, like politics or whatever. Like, I'm very vocal about shit like that and like, all that. But like, yeah, I'm at the point where I live and breathe for this shit, and I don't think anything else that I do creatively gives me that same satisfaction as making music does, because my whole life, like I said, I was insecure and shy, and I never seen myself being in this position. So not only me just, being like, fuck everybody, it's more like I'm here to inspire the people who are just like me and all the girls who grew up dealing with the shit I had to deal with, whether it be from bullying or just like abuse relationship wise or anything, I just, it's for them, because I feel like if I give up, I'm giving up on all the people who like look up to me, like, oh, like, you inspire me every day to go go to work, get up and do my thing. And, fuck everybody, and it's like, I'm not trying to spread like hate, like, oh, fuck the world, fuck everybody. It's more like, if people are being evil and nasty and negative to you, fuck them. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't let anybody make you feel like that. So that's basically like the bottom line of it. Like, I really want to be a good role model and inspiration, because I grew up with such significant females in my life, whether that be in my family, but musically, because I like I said, I never saw like myself being like, oh, I'm gonna be like that girl on MTV, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I love that for you, but it's like, I can't see myself being that, but it's like, I live through you, So it's like, I feel like, yeah, I love this shit. And it really opened a part of me I didn't know I had in me. And ever since then, like, I'll never go back to like the old me where I feel like I can't speak my truth or be who I am because so-and-so is like, I don't like you. No, fuck that shit. And it's like 9 times out of 10, I probably never fucking liked you either. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm not gonna, I'm not a judgmental person. It's just, if you give me a reason to not fuck with you, it's that. But it's, yeah, I want to, like I said, I just want to be a good inspiration. And if I give up on this shit, I'm giving up on myself. I'm giving up on everybody, So like, that's what really drives me to keep doing this shit.
Yeah, it might
Shout out
happen.
Crown Royal. Crown Apple. Fuck. Oh shit. Now I'm
Okay.
scared. Am I gonna get canceled?
No, that's the thing. Don't be afraid to yap because that's,
Am I canceled?
it's literally your interview, so it's like speak your mind, say your piece.
Talk your shit, twin.
You brought up that you were surprised, or you weren't surprised. Your family was surprised at the fact that you were rapping. Is there any artist that you were like, motherfucker, you should have been known I was gonna be rapping?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like my parents grew like raised me off West Coast gangster rap. Like I don't know, and it's funny because like my parents are the reason why I love music so much because they were so diverse. Like they listened to like heavy metal, classic rock, and then all of a sudden they blasting NWA and shit, and I'm like, who's this? And Eazy-E. Like I'm originally from California. I was born in California, born in Whittier. Shout out, represent for real. And all my family is from California. So like, just it's kind of like in my blood. That West Coast shit is in my blood. That's why I told them I was like, I don't know why you guys are surprised, but I don't really think there's very significant female West Coast artists. I mean, and if there are, then my bad. I'm leaving you out. But like me growing up, like I never really seen female artists like from that side of music that they were fucking with. But like my mom always used to like love R&B too. Like I'm very musically diverse, but like they should have figured but my mom grew up in the backyard scene going to shows and shit, so she probably always she always thought I was gonna be in a band and shit, and like she loves my singing stuff, like all my unreleased shit that I when I'm singing at, she's like, you need to release this, why aren't you dropping this, I like the singing stuff, but she also is very supportive of me being in a band. She's supportive of my music, period. Like she loves my rap stuff, but like even though they say I cuss too much, but yeah, like I was like, I don't know why you guys are surprised, like you guys always like thought I would do something musically or creative, but yeah, that's one of my big influences. And then I found all the Southern hip hop, Southern gangster rap shit when I got a little bit older. I met a girl. It's funny. One of my childhood best friends, she was from Dallas and she moved to Vegas, and she showed me all these like Southern hip hop artists, and I was like, whoa, I was like, what is this? I was like, this is a whole new thing for me, and that's kind of how I got like my ear into like the Southern hip hop stuff and why I'm so in tune with that. But that was on my own. That wasn't from like my family, but yeah, that's just growing up around different people. My family just heavily influenced like my music,
So mom gets to hear all the unreleased first and foremost.
Yeah, my mom always does. And she doesn't care. She loves it. But she really likes the singing stuff. She really wants me to drop my singing stuff. But I don't know if y'all are ready for that. But we'll see.
What was it? Wrath? Wraith?
Wrath?
The one you sent me?
Oh no. That unreleased one, that wasn't even that. Wrath is one of my songs. Wrath was the first music video I ever dropped, but you definitely are.
What was the one you literally just sent me?
It has no name. I called it waste because in the song I was like wasting my breath and blah blah blah, but I don't want to get into that because y'all ain't ready for that.
I've heard you in your singer-songwriter bag before,
My
and I'm like,
little
that one
Juice WRLD bag.
That one is peak. That one needs a video.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't know if they're ready for that, but like I think I'm gonna drop it as like a little demo because I have 2 other songs I haven't even recorded yet, but I'm pretty confident I can sing on them. But I don't know if you guys are ready for that, but we'll see.
If you're in that emo bag, fuck it, we ball.
I'm in all the bags. Like I said, like I love all types of music, and like, I just was always so insecure and shy to like sing. But you know what? Now that we're talking about this, I think it was like in 4th and 5th grade, we had like a talent show or something, and I sang a Paramore song, and that was the first time I ever like sang in front of like anybody, and I was like, I don't know, and like halfway singing, I'm like, why am I doing this? But like that was like the first time I ever performed, and I remember when my song was done, it was so quiet, and then the class just like erupted in like clapping and applause because I was the quiet emo kid, you know, like, and they were like, this bitch singing, like what? And it was, yeah, I think it was All My Heart by Paramore. I think I don't know if I'm getting that song name right, but yeah, it was that song. And yeah, I never sang in front of anybody ever again. But yeah, that kind of, I think maybe that's when Vicious kind of peaked out a little bit, and I was like, oh shit, maybe I can do this, you know. But I was shy, and you know, I got bullied all the time, so I was like, no, I'm just a weirdo, you know. But yeah. I don't know if they ready for that. That's sad shit though.
From the bit of research I've done, I've noticed that you are a very a spiritually inclined individual, and I just wanted to know how important that is to you and how that influences your art.
My family grew up Catholic. My mom raised me as a Catholic, but she started doing massage therapy, and she got into very spiritual herbal medicine, and like I said previously, I'm indigenous, so my mom actually took a class in Sedona, Arizona, and she became a shaman, and she went through a spiritual awakening, and like in the process of that, it kind of rubbed off on me, and she was teaching me about, you know, this is how you protect your energy, this is how you read oracle cards, and I know that stuff has nothing to do with like indigenous culture and all that, but like I feel like as a whole, spirituality, it like that shit just runs in deep in my blood, you know. And I've always felt from a young age like I can sense things and feel things that other people can't. And I know it sounds crazy, but like
We love crazy.
I've had prophetic dreams. I've had, you know, I can read people very easily, and but my mom was the one who really showed me this side of like spiritualism that wasn't religion, you know, because when I was growing up, I felt very uncomfortable going to church and like worshiping, you know, a dead guy on the cross. Like I just is everything okay? Okay. But yeah, I just didn't really feel connected to that. But like once I found this spirituality, you know, this other side of it, it just kind of resonated with me more. And like I said, I'm very, 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 I protect my peace, my energy very strongly. And that's why I don't play that double-sided, two-faced shit. It's like, if you don't fuck with me, say that and move the fuck on. And we cool. I don't care. I don't like fake shit. I don't like sneak dissing. I don't like none of that shit. So I don't know why, you know, I got a lot of like misconceptions that I'm on that shit, but I'm not. Like I peep shit so quick. You cannot, you know, I see right through people. And maybe that's why people are so intimidated by me. But like I'm very spiritual, and I meditate every day. I make sure I do, you know, I have my own little altar, and I just kind of I don't do any specific thing like spiritual wise, like who I practice with. I'm kind of like open to all, and I've even had psychics tell me like I'm basically like validated in the spiritual world because I'm so respected, and like I respect other cultures and the things and beings that come to me spiritually. And yeah, it's very important to me, and I actually talk about it a lot in my music. And I've had a couple songs where I've had people basically tell on themselves because I wasn't even like talking about specific people, but I was just saying, you know, like jealous assholes, you sending your evil eye, you know. And then all of a sudden people start dropping like flies, and I'm like, oh, so it was you. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm not stupid. I feel that shit. Like if you don't like me, I feel it. There's no fronting in that shit, and I'm not a fronting ass bitch. Like my spirituality like runs deep within me personally and my music. So I think that's why so many people like my music, you know, because it empowers them, and it protects them, you know, and like words are powerful, you know, like words are spells. So yeah, it's just for my protection and you know, the people who get it, if you know, you know. And you know, I'm not out here trying to be like, oh, you know, cult mentality, you gotta worship this and that. Like I feel like everybody should have an opportunity and chance to experience that spiritual side if you feel called to it. But if not, you know, like I said, your words are power, you know, like things like you just don't play with that shit, you know, and you don't fuck with people who are divinely protected, you know, because I've had a lot of instances where people have tried to, you know, take me out or like they've tried to like spread lies on me, and like I've seen shit just go bad for them because it's like you don't fuck with people like that. And that's why I'm very particular and, you know, very cautious of how I say things or I interact with people, because I don't know how you're protected, you know? And I just, I have like a respect for myself and others, you know, so respect is given and all that. But yeah, this shit really runs deep, and it's real. It's real. Like, you can act like it's just magic and phooey abracadabra, but it's not. Like, it's really not. Like, this shit gets real, you know?
I know you have a track called Gemini with the whole music video to front. What, I don't know. Maybe not how important. What does it mean to you to be a Gemini, and what does it say about that specific song and the fact that you called it Gemini?
A lot of people think Geminis are two-faced, but I think the real thing is like, you guys think we're fake, but it's like we can see through people, you know, because we got a dual mindset, you know, we see the good and the bad and good, and like we can, you know, we can peep that shit. And that's probably why people think we're so flip-floppy, because it's like we're not afraid to call you out on your shit. And it's not we're being two-faced, it's like we're too real. That's what I say, we're too real. And that song, I made that song when I think it was like my first year making music, and like it was like towards the end of the year, and I was like, I want to show people that I can make something that's not just, you know, my regular like 1 minute or 2 minute long song. Like that's a 3 minute long song or longer, I think. And
bars,
yeah,
bars.
I just spazzed. And Geminis are ruled by Mercury, and that's the planet of communication. And so I feel like I know how to articulate my words and express myself in a way. So that's why I get pissed off when people like think I'm saying this when I'm not, or like I'm being this when I'm not, and I mean it this way when I'm not. No, if I say what I say, it's what I fucking mean and what I say, you know what I mean? And so like, yeah, I don't really think, you know, astrology like is like super borderline basic, like this is who you are, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, like I was born May 23rd, so I am a Gemini, but I feel like sidereal astrology is more accurate actually. But yeah, I don't know. I just was like, you know what, fuck it. Like I'm gonna just drop this song and name it that. Like it really wasn't like too much thought into it, but I was like, fuck it. People think I'm two-faced and flip-floppy and this and this and that. Yeah, I'll show you who the fuck I really am. And so yeah, I guess, you know, shout out all the Geminis. That's their anthem, and everybody who is a Gemini says that they love that song, even though it's probably not like my best. I would say it's not my strongest song, I would say personally, but a lot of people like that song. And we shot that music video after we did our Arizona show. Me and Sly headlined that show, and we had Goon Main, Tony Heartless, and a couple other artists locally from that scene. I think we're on that show. I'm so sorry if I spaced out, but like it was a really good show. It was at the Nile, and we shot that music video the day after, and they were all in my music video. But yeah, it wasn't like super like, oh, I'm gonna make a song about Geminis, you know. It's just like it just kind of happened, you know. But yeah,
I've literally never heard this before today. Don't hate me if I pronounce this wrong. What is sidereal?
So sidereal astrology. So the main astrology like that Western civilization uses is like tropical astrology, and tropical astrology is like based off the months. Sidereal astrology is based off the actual coordinates and placements of the stars in the sky. and they say that's the most accurate version of your astrology. So like in sidereal astrology, I'm a Taurus sun, Scorpio rising, and Aries moon, I think. And I feel like that makes a lot more sense because, you know, Scorpios are very like mysterious, dark, all that. And I feel like that's really my vibe. And like when your rising sign is who you perceive yourself or who you put yourself out as in the world. So I feel like I connected more with that than a Sagittarius rising, because that's how it is in Western astrology. I'm a Gemini sun, Sag rising, and a Taurus moon. But yeah, I feel really connected to the Taurus thing. But like the Sag rising, I was like, I'm not really giving Sag. I'm sorry. No tea, no shade to the Sages out there. But yeah, I definitely relate more to the Scorpio rising and all that. But like, you know, astrology is like super. It gets deep, and I don't know if that's a conversation anybody's really ready for that. But like, yeah, if you wanna know about your astrology, I'm not getting into all the houses and all that shit. I don't even barely understand that. But yeah, sidereal astrology, I feel like it's more accurate because it's actually taking your birthplace from the placements of the stars in the sky, like how astrology should be. Like it's called astrology. It shouldn't be based off the months like how Western astrology is. But you know, I don't know. That's
Damn
what it is.
fucking Westerners, the damn American dream, fucking pieces of shit.
Shit. But yeah, that's sidereal.
Let's get into some core Vampira lore.
Oh God.
Some normie Halloweenville questions that I didn't really even think they were normie questions until insert homie that gave me shit about this. I'm curious, what is the first album you ever bought, or was like an album or artist that was like, that's my fucking shit?
I the first CD I ever got was my mom got me a couple Gwen Stefani CDs. I'm
Damn.
spacing on
Shout
the
out Jupu Lugs.
Yeah, shout out Jupu Lugs.
I should have put that in my shit. That's my bitch. That's my bitch.
Yeah, my mom got me some Gwen Stefani CDs, Avril Lavigne, and I remember one of the first female bands I got into was like Evanescence, obviously, but like my mom got me a Flyleaf CD. She was like, "Oh, your cousin went to this show and gave me this CD. Like, do you want it?" And like we were listening into the car. I'm like, "Who the fuck is this?" Like when I'm so sick came on, I was like, "Who the fuck is this?" I was, and then she took me to see them. That was my first concert, actually. If we want to get like into music, like my first concert was a Flyleaf concert, and I've never seen a tiny woman go on stage and just belt out vocals like that. Going from screaming to singing, like, it's insane. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, what the fuck? And then the second concert I went to was Gwen Stefani and Paramore. And that was a crazy, just seeing those two, because it's like worlds collide. But yeah, like, yeah, and then my first Paramore CD was the live Paramore set from Chicago, and it's funny because like Chicago is one of my top cities now for my listeners, so I think it's kind of weird how, you know, life plays out, because I remember listening to that CD and like hearing the intro and hearing the crowd screaming, and Hayley Williams comes on stage and she's like, Chicago, and then she starts singing you know, the intro song, and like that shit's just like, yeah, like those artists were like the first CDs I really had. And my older cousin lived with me for a little bit, and she was like a scene kid. So like she made mixtape CDs all the time, and she was always burning CDs, and she would make me little mixtapes and CDs and stuff like that too. So like, yeah, I got introduced to music and like just all that super young always. But like, yeah, those were like my first, I would say my first influential little albums for that, you know, even though they're not rap, but like, you know, that's what I grew up with, you know?
Core lore is core lore. I literally, I'm in the same bag, because just like you, I literally had a mom who was like heavily in the alternative punk, hardcore, whatever you want to call it, space. I literally grew up off of fucking L7 and Bikini Kill and all that shit.
Yeah.
I know it's like normie core now, fucking all the little TikTokers, but like it's one of those things where it's like, I'm like curious about this. Is it one of those things where it's like that's your backbone, and so you were like, when it came to rap, you're like, this is my own thing. Like you're kind of like almost kind of turned off by it, where you're like, I'm not gonna make alternative kind of music because I'm like, that's what I grew up off of. That's what I know. Where rap is my like, this is my way of rebellion. Like you have a rebellious ass mom, and so you like can't even have your own like, I'm a fucking teenager, man.
Well, I mean, shit. I lived a life when I was younger. I went from like, you know, listening to all that, you know, like the basic stuff. And then middle school and high school, I got heavily involved in like the death metal scene and like the hardcore and punk scene. And I just stopped fucking with any music besides that. Like I was one of those people, like I was one of those try hard gatekeeping, like, oh, you don't listen to this, you're a fucking pussy. You know, like I was like straight up like punk hardcore kid. And I would go to shows. I shaved my fucking head. Like I was like all into that shit. Just like, I don't know. I think it was just more like, you know, like that teenage angst. Like I was just so sick of everybody fucking with me. So like I got hard and I was like, fuck y'all. Like I'm scary now. And then people started calling me the school shooter, which is fucked up. But yeah,
you had the school shooter allegations too?
Yeah, I had the school shooter allegations. Yeah. Everyone always thought it'd be me, but no, I would never.
It's a blood bond.
Yeah,
High school's a hell of a
I was
drug.
more like I hurt myself than I would hurt myself first than hurt other people type shit. Real emo hours, but
real emo hours.
Yeah,
exactly.
I grew up in the punk and hardcore scene a good majority of like my young teenager life, and then you know, like I said earlier, the whole rap thing kind of took me by surprise too, because I was just joking. Like I was always involved in like the underground scene. Like I remember my first like underground rap group I got into was Odd Future, and that's what kind of got me into like the whole SoundCloud thing, because you know, Vegas and Cali are so close, so like all of the culture from Cali always eventually came to Vegas, and you know, I'm from there, so it's like it was inevitable. And that's how I got into like the SoundCloud vibe back in like 2013, and y'all don't know shit about that. So like, yeah, like right when Xavier Will, Bones, all of them were just starting out, and like that really kind of like, I was like, damn, like you got these rappers posting like their music, and you know, Odd Future, I'm like, they're blowing the fuck up. I'm like, now all these other rappers are like coming up, Suicide Boys, you know, Raider Clan, like all of them. I remember seeing everybody come up, even my friends, I remember seeing them coming up from fucking nothing off SoundCloud, and I was just like, this is crazy. This is really the new wave. Like you don't have to go to a big studio or be signed to like make music. And I would like, even though I was still like heavily into like metal and all that shit, like I fucked with like the rap stuff, you know, and especially Tyler, because like, you know, his early shit, he was talking crazy shit with like the horrorcore stuff, and like, you know, I was like, fuck, like this is like that whole era and like genre of like that rap was like, I was like, oh fuck, like these people are actually like you can mesh this shit together. I was like, what? I was like, rap can be like this? I was like, what? You know, so like that kind of just like sparked my interest, and like I just kind of came part of the cult subculture of that shit, you know. But I was always, you know, rebellious punk, fucking into all that shit, and I actually was in the hardcore scene for like heavily especially in the Vegas scene. Shout out LVHC. I don't really go to shows much anymore because Vegas is so like divided now with all this bullshit drama and fucking stupid shit, but like it still has a very big place in my heart, you know what I mean? Just that's all I knew and what I grew up with, you know, and it's just everything kind of just like meshes together, you know. God.
Okay, being a Vegas native, and you've kind of touched into being tapped into the hardcore scene. Honestly, other than you, I mean, I know some things when it comes to like Nevada and Vegas overall, but like I really haven't heard about a so-called Vegas artist being put on past you. How do you feel about the Vegas mucus
scene, yeah.
Mucus scene.
For the rap scene, it sucks. I'm not gonna lie. It's so
So it is a mucus scene.
Yeah, it's lower than that shit. It's
This
just
shit's-
because like, you know, we got like the old heads, they doing their own thing, open mics, whatever, kind of lame. And then you got like the local rappers who are in like my
Shout out Lil
age,
Nutsack.
yeah, my age range that are like they're so fucking egotistical and like they're doing their own shows and they'll put you on a show to make you an opener to make you look stupid. And I'm gonna speak on this because I don't give a fuck anymore at this point. But a lot of people in
Speak
Vegas
your
don't
truth.
like me because they put me on shows and I actually got love for my city. And they thought like, oh, she told everyone to pull up for her set only and told everyone to leave after her set. And it's like, no, maybe I'm sorry, but maybe you just don't have the following and fan base that I do, and I'd put in a lot of work, and maybe you should work harder, you know. And it's never like that. And like I'm not the type of bitch to be like, oh, I'm not gonna do your show because you're nobodies, you know. Like I at one point I really did try to network and be cool with people, but then I always felt a weird vibe where people were like, oh, we're the headliners, and oh, you're just a, you know. And I just like I started peeping that shit, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be oblivious to this shit. And like I said, I'm very spiritual. You can't hide shit from me. I can peep that shit regardless. And so like I was just like, I always felt the type of way like, okay, these people really don't fuck with me, but I'm like, I'm gonna do it because, you know, I have no other choice. I gotta get my name out there. I gotta network. And I was thinking like maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm the bitch, you know, like maybe I'm the one that's paranoid that everyone hates me. But no, it's like that jealousy and egotistical shit, it gets really real, and it's crazy that even male artists feel very intimidated by females. And yeah, it's sad. I've never experienced a music scene like this. Like I said, growing up in the hardcore and punk scene, like we very had a solid base of the people who were a part of it and like who really like, you know, came up in this shit and were building the community. And there still is, like, shout out Black Path, shout out 1-800-DEADASS, but there's been a lot of people who have come into the scenes in that type of genres and the rap scene that are like not even from Vegas, or like they're just like, you know, they think they're running shit and whatnot, but they're honestly just starting more drama and more bullshit than there already needs to be. And that's kind of like, it's a divide, but it's all the ego shit. It's the egotistical shit and the insecurity and the jealousy shit. And that's what sucks. Like music shouldn't be like that. The whole point is like, you know, giving people an experience and like expressing yourself and putting on for your city and like helping your city. You shouldn't be beefing with your city. And that's why, you know I'm talking shit, but I honestly wish it really wasn't like this. Because at the end of the day, like my intentions personally were never to be like, oh yeah, I'm the best in my city. I'm running shit. You know, we should all be collectively running it, because who else is going to? And it's crazy because I've seen so many people get ran out of different scenes who are actual pieces of shit, and now it's like, why the fuck are we beefing? Like people just get so, you know, caught up in their heads, and like people get into other people's heads like, oh, she told everybody to leave before your set. No, that's not true. And like if you got a problem, you can press me about it, and I have no reason to hide or front about nothing. I'm a very open and honest person. But it's just pussy shit. It's stupid. And I just for the rap scene specifically, I really wish it was more just better and
We're
different.
all buddies. We're all friends.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I know in the most perfect world, you know, that would be the case, but it's never going to be like that. But it's just, you know, dealing with so many different personalities. And like I said, people who aren't even from Vegas, they start mingling and intermingling with people, you know, and like, oh, so I don't fuck with so-and-so, or, oh, I heard so-and-so said this or did this at a show and blah, 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 you know, and it gets messy. And that's why I don't really want to be that person, you know, talking about, oh, I have a falling out with this person, you know. I'm not like that. I'm not trying to stop anybody's bags, but there's definitely a lot of people who, yeah, they shouldn't even have a mic to them, period, actually. So yeah, let me now I'm gonna cut it off at that. So we can end it at that.
Cabin Fever recently broke around 100K. How the fuck does that feel?
Insane. Shout out to 99 for producing that beat too. and you know, it's funny. I actually have a couple of 99's music liked on my SoundCloud even before I even made music. Like I just liked his beats and like his mixes, and he became one of my producers and like a super close friend of mine. And yeah, that song, I wasn't even expecting, you know, I never really expect my music to do well. I know that sounds horrible, but like, you know, just how sudden I've started making music, I just didn't think people would fuck with it. But that song definitely, it just did really fucking well. And I think Cabin Fever, no, that was when my friends used to still mix my music. But Armageddon was the first song I mixed myself. But yeah, Cabin Fever, I don't know what really sparked that, like the vibe of that song. I just remember hearing the Lord Infamous sample, and he was like, "I'm scared. Is anyone out there? Damn!" And then there was like there's like a nature sound, like you hear like, you know, like it's like it sounds like you're in the woods. And I was like, when I heard that song, I was like, it sounds like some Jason shit. Like you can hear him going, ah, ah. And I was like, how can I incorporate that? And that's when the whole vicious, you know. And I was just like listening to the song, and I was like, vicious, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, I think I might actually have something. And then when the bass dropped, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I got to start writing right now for this song. And that song actually, like I'd say, like changed my whole career with everything, like creative wise, spotlight wise. Like I really think that song was the song that made everybody go, oh shit, she's really not playing. Like she's really doing this shit.
It's one of my favorite ad libs of all time. I will literally hear an ad lib. Technically, I phrased that so fucked up. That is one of my favorite ad libs of all time. I will literally hear a type beat, and I'll cut this out. I go by Hitch Vincent. I will hear vicious, and I'll go Vincent. Because the vicious, like literally, like that's the hardest build up to a fucking drop.
That's like the first ever like really ad lib I ever did in a song, and like
vicious.
Yeah, and like it kind of like set the vibe because everybody's like, oh shit, what the fuck? And then the cover art is Dita Von Teese, you know, posing with the Jason. I don't know if it was the actual actor or like a statue of him, but I was like, I always like that picture. And you know what's funny is people are always like, is that you on the cover? And I'm like, no, it's not me. But when in the music video, I do want to, you know, pop out with a little leopard print bikini and all that. And I need a Jason. I need a 6 foot tall tatted Jason for the music video. So anybody want to? Anybody want to be a part?
We're gonna make that happen, and if I'm not the one to fucking do that video, we're squaring up. I don't give a shit.
No, I would love for you to shoot that video, because that song is like my most popular song and my most requested. Like, you need to drop a music video for it. But like I said, like I really got a vision for it. Like I want, you know, I actually want to be somewhere in the forest.
Something that was, if it was literally
with a cabin.
That song is what sold me on you, and like it would, if it's not Friday 13th / Vampira inspired, like we gotta hit that perfect like feng shui of like we're in a cabin, we fucking hit the whole thing, like especially that one photo that's iconic as fuck, like that picture you use for the cover art with Dita, like we hit all those vibes, like bam. It's
I kind of want to intertwine somewhat of the Evil Dead into it too.
Oh no,
I literally, because I want like some of my friends to be in the music video, and I want me to like jump in the video, like I'm killing everybody or some shit.
Though,
you know what I mean?
Literally that edit I did for you, I used the fucking on the nose. I used the fucking, what is it called? That camera where they're like, where it's like the spirit going through all this shit. I literally use that for that. We're in the same exact mind flow for that.
See, I told you, I got an idea. I just need the budget and the time, place. You know, when it happens, and I know that video will do fucking great. Like, I got
you
high
are
standards.
A sugar daddy or so, please give us 5 bands.
Anybody who wants to invest. Sugar daddies or anybody at all, honestly. Investors. The rich baddies, yes.
If you put 5 bands, I promise we can make 10 bands. Fuck that.
Fucking, give me 10 bands and I'll turn it to a million. Watch that. Real transmutation, for real.
Say less. We will make that happen overnight. Post this interview, we're gonna get it and we're gonna make it.
The amount of times where I'm like, hey, wink, wink, hit me up.
Okay, so this is another staple. So you've made music long enough now that you would consider yourself very much to be a artist and a rapper. What is the creative process to a Vicious Vampira song from start to finish? We have lyrics beforehand, we hear a beat, and then we get inspired sometimes.
It's definitely the beat first. I have people send me stuff all the time, and even if I don't immediately use it, I'll probably use it later. But yeah, I get the beat first because I can't. I mean, I write like I have like a whole thing on my phone and like even in my journal, like. If I come up with something random or clever throughout the day, I'm like, oh yeah, write this down. And like, I'll throw it back in a song when I am in my process of writing, but it's definitely, the beat first so I can catch the vibe and, kind of, I listen to the beat by itself a couple times before I'm like, okay, all right, I see how this is going and like where this part breaks, where this, this comes in and like, or, oh, I can hear someone else on this shit. You know what I mean? So it's definitely beat first, lyrics. Yeah, I just kind of almost most of my songs have been freestyles. Like I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this, feeling that, write this down, and then I'll go through it a couple times, and if like I'm recording or when I'm like practicing, I'm like, this word kind of doesn't sound good here. Oh, this verse should be here, and then this one should be here. That's usually what happens. Like I'll write something and then I'm like, actually, this part actually would sound better in the beginning or this part, I piece my shit together. So, yeah, that's kind of the process of, how that goes,
Okay, this is a staple. Are you a fan of horror movies?
Yes. Big yes. Like that's why I chose the cover art for Cabin Fever the way it was, and like the whole vicious. It's like Jason's. He's like all that shit. So yeah, I've always loved horror movies. My mom, like on top of music, my family and my mom especially, she loved movies, like horror movies, all that shit. So yeah, I just. And just like the vibe and how I grew up, all edgy and shit. I love horror movies, and I've always kind of wanted to be an actress too. So it's like I would love to be in a horror movie slasher or some shit like that too. But yeah, I've always loved horror movies.
We're gonna make it happen.
I love Halloween too. Like that's like my favorite. Like my birthday and Halloween are like my two favorite parts of fucking the year. Fuck Christmas. I love Halloween. That's my Christmas. I love Halloween. I don't give a shit. Like that's just me. But yeah, I've always loved horror and like, all that spooky shit,
What's your favorite horror movie?
That's a good question. It's not a tough question. That's a good question. I would say in my top,
What's
say
core lore?
Suspiria. That's a good movie.
Damn, okay.
That's a good movie. And the Friday the 13th movies and the Freddy movies. Fuck. The original. Let me get that straight. Yeah, the original Suspiria. I've yet to see the new one. I'm not interested because they completely fucked up, muted all the color tone and everything in that movie. Like the original was like so colorful and so unique with like just the storyline. But fucking Hollywood always fucks everything up. But maybe I'm just a hater. I don't know. I love the old school practical effects shit. I don't like that CGI shit. I love the old school movies.
Do you like any horror remakes? I only say this because
they're all horrible. They're all bad. What's yours then?
Okay. I think The Hills of Eyes.
Okay, yeah. That's the only valid one I would say.
I feel like speaking of Friday the 13th, the remake of Friday the 13th is like a greatest hits version where they like take parts of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Granted, don't get me wrong, Nightmare on Elm Street remake sucks. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, that's also a banger.
Yeah, okay. Those are valid.
I like the Wrong Turn remake because it's like a whole different bitch.
Yeah.
than the.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
I feel like it's one of those things where remakes are one of those things that like usually it's like fuck it, but like horror they will be like. You never know. Like, don't get me wrong. Child's Play, that remake where they make it like a series, that's awful. That's an awful movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was just thinking too. Another one of my favorites. An American Werewolf in London. That's a good movie.
I've
the
yet
original.
to seen that. I
Oh
need
my
to
god,
see
it's
that.
for the practical effects. It's like the werewolf
So you're a practical
transforming.
effect fiend.
Yes, I love that shit. Like I like the transformation scene in that movie of him turning into a werewolf. It's like the craziest shit I've ever seen. And it's like, just that movie period. You know, like they got the fucking army werewolves coming in, shooting up the family, and
It's one of those movies that I've literally heard about it a billion times.
It's a
and it's
good
like,
movie.
Like The Sixth Sense, where like you hear about it so often that you're like, I know the writer, the director, I know all the beats, but I'm like, I've yet to see it.
I know all the beats.
I've yet to seen it because I'm like, I'm sure if
it's a good movie.
That's
definitely in my top. I can't believe I almost forgot about that, but I'm glad I remembered it right now. But yeah, that most definitely like that movie too, and the Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead. I'm an old school.
Okay, that's another remake. That's another remake that fucks.
Yeah,
that Evil Dead remake.
Yeah, I just love old school shit. You know, that's why my music's the way it is. It's like that old school Memphis revival shit. Like I love that old school shit. I honestly feel like I'm an old soul. I'm not even gonna lie. Not even gonna cap. Like I really feel like I'm an old soul. So that's probably why I'm like I like all that old school shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, I fucking love all that. I don't know. The remakes are kind of like it's like, yeah, they're cool or whatever, but like nothing's ever gonna beat the original, hands down. So
I'm very curious about how you first met fellow friend of the show, Jupulux.
We kind of met through like mutual friends online, Instagram, you know, shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we linked up for the first time in Vegas last year for our birthday week. We hung out, and that's when we shot the Vamplex music video too in that week. But yeah, that we just, you know, internet friends. But now we in real life besties, and we locked in.
Evil twin moment.
For real. I feel like I'm the evil one. I'm the evil twin. She's the good twin. Gemini. I'm evil twin for real.
I'd be conflicted about that if an evil twin moment is like you're both evil twin or there's
we
like
both evil. We both evil. I guess. Yeah, shit. We
one.
all evil in the club. We all evil. We all evil.
I'm very curious. Where the fuck is the Vamp Lux mixtape?
We should be working on it soon. We just, you know, it's hard trying to come up with something after, you know, that shit we dropped, you know, like it's just like it's kind of hard to beat, but like I don't think we specifically want to go for like a set sound. It's just, you know, it's just hard, you know, putting stuff together. It's hard for me to even put my own projects together, but like you know, it's different when two people are trying to find beats and like stuff that we're comfortable with, because she'll find something. She's like, hey, I like this. And then I'm like, I don't know if I can get on that, bestie. And then it's the same way with her. I'm like, hey, I like this. And she's like, I don't know. You know, I was even surprised she even got on the Vamplex beat, you know, because that's like all like that's like all my vibe, you know. But we matched energy, but it should be coming soon. I really want that to happen. You know what I mean? Like I really want like us to collaborate more, especially with her. Like I feel like we need to collaborate, but like yeah, the tape should be coming soon. But like when it does drop, I feel like it'll be well worth the wait. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the best things aren't rushed. You know, if we just rushed and here you guys go, fuck off, you know, it wouldn't be, you know, as genuine as like the Vamplex track, you know. Mm-hmm. But
I almost feel like you need a second opinion on this.
What?
That specifically.
Oh, is that my cue?
What do you mean? What? What's going on?
Yes.
Wait, what? Oh, I was like, oh yeah.
Question. What am I yapping about? No, he said second because about the what?
Okay. So this might be a little bit.
Still be in frame, yeah.
Okay.
What's the
this we already talked about this in your interview. Can you just tell me about how the specific part of Vegas that you guys hung out in might be a little curse?
Oh, you want to get into that, or you just want to talk about Vegas in general? Because
In
I don't know too
general?
much.
Okay, so you don't know anything
Yeah.
about Vegas. What was your
It was
opinion about Vegas?
First of all, I had never been to Vegas before. I had no
Uh-huh.
interest going to Vegas personally in my life. But the second our homeboy Lil Wretched hit me up and was like, "Yo, you want to go to Vegas and do birthday weekend up there with Vicious?" I was like, "Hell yeah, no brainer."
Shout out Wretched.
Shout out Lil Wretched. It was my first flight ever. It was fucking crazy. We flew out there.
Wait, you've never flown before?
That was my first flight. I did it for this
Holy
bitch. That's bestie.
shit.
I'd never flown before. That's still my only flight. The only flight I've ever been on. I told myself I'd never get on a fucking flight, but I did it because I had to.
Shout out Final Destination again.
We had already made the song like over the distance. And then the whole plan was, okay, birthday weekend. And then we filmed this video and everybody was turned. The whole trip, everybody was turned the fuck up. We were trying to hash out that video. It wasn't super easy. It was a bit difficult, but we made it happen. And it was a wild ass week. Tons of shit. That's like, if you know kind of shit. Like the fucking.
We were like sharing a mixed drink in the music video. Like we're passing the cup back and forth. We were pretty butt.
We ran out of liquor. We were fucking.
You can see it. I was surprised. Like, oh shit, he got that on camera.
Yeah,
Her son-
it's like in the video. Yeah,
Damn,
no.
These bitches really getting
It was,
down.
and it was our first time meeting, but it was like we were like close from afar because we'd known each other for such a long time. It was a long time coming, but as soon as we met, it was like, okay, yeah, this bitch, this is my best friend. So it was like a wild ass week. We got the video hashed out. She fucking edited it. That shit fucking. It feels iconic, but it was hellish trying to make that shit happen. It was fucking crazy. It was a
very, very interesting and insane
it was
weekend.
It was insane. Vegas is a wild time. Vegas was wild, but my only flight I've ever been on so far. Well worth it. Wild as shit. Fucking my life is a movie type shit. Fucking it was crazy. But yeah, is that yeah? We're good. That's a good answer. I don't fucking know. Shit was crazy. Yeah. Period.
Where the fuck is the mixtape, guys?
She already answered that.
It's coming.
You
Good things
specifically.
take time.
We're being held hostage.
What she said.
Where's the
Where's it?
He's asking the question.
He's pointing a weapon at us off camera.
Yeah. I am scared for my
Good
life.
things take time. It's cooking.
Aren't you guys trying to be quadrillionaires? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Give it a year. Give it a year. Billionaire. World tour.
That's
type
all.
shit.
That's the only thing that's holding you guys back
You
from.
fucking for a flight. You big low. I know your songs, bitch. I'm a fan too.
But yeah, it's coming. It's coming. We cooking. We cooking. Like how we cooking now. We cooking.
All right, cameo out. Swag on him. All right, let's. There's so many things I feel like I should have touched on, but you've touched on so many things that I like.
I answered all the questions for you. It's like, yeah, let me just yap.
I don't even know what even to. I feel like there's so many things I wanted to ask you, but I feel like we've gone over a lot of subjects. As a closing out message, I'm curious. Okay, real quick, before the closing out message, I'm curious. You recently dropped a project called Most Wanted. What was the process behind that?
I just was like, I want to drop at least something for the last part of the year, because this year I genuinely took a break from music. I've just been going through a lot. Last year I almost died. I had a heart condition where I had a blood clot in my lungs and my heart, and I had to get on a bunch of medications, and like my whole life flipped upside down. And this year I was slowly getting off my medicine and just starting to feel back into myself. And I was like, you know what? I've been doing this shit so consistently all these years. I'm like, I think I should, take a little break. And like when I dropped Queen of Hearts like this year in February, that was a project I was working on the year, like the end of that previous year, and I dropped beginning of this year. But since I slacked off so much this year, I was like, I feel like my fans deserve to have a little bit more than just, I dropped this project and a video, and I kind of just went ghost this year. But I needed it for my mental health, first and foremost. But I genuinely was burnt out and I was just pissed off with all the bullshit drama I also had to go through. So I was like, you know what, fuck this shit. And I kind of was going through this weird stage of like, do I quit this shit? Do I keep going? But then I was just looking on YouTube for beats, and that's when I came across a couple of the producers who were on that project, like Kiko and Pumpkin. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I'm really gonna quit music when there's so many talented people that like, I'm like, I can feel the vibe of this shit. And it was kind of like a spur of the moment thing. And the cover art was taken by Juju. She took those pictures of me at Noise Fest, and that was like the highlight of my entire music career, especially like with meeting Tommy Wright, LaChat, Shoddy Pimp. And I, like I said, like this project was kind of like the spur of the moment. I performed 2 of the songs on that track or that project at Noise Fest, and Tommy Wright's right in front of stage, like fucking bumping his head. I'm like, oh shit, I should drop this shit. You know what I mean? And, I bought the exclusive rights, did all of what I had to do. And I was like, boom, I'm gonna just drop this shit. And it kind of wasn't like really, like Most Wanted was supposed to be just a single, but then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna drop a little EP. And that's why it's kind of like random, mixed up. And, it's like, it goes from like, there's different vibes in that whole project, but I kind of just want to show people, I'm not just like, I'm talking shit and I rap about killing people and beating people up and shit like that. Like I'm an artist at the end of the day, so I wanted to show people more of like who I really am and like my creative side, because I actually got pressed by someone I looked up to for a long time in music. I won't say her name, but like she told me, she's like, you just rap about this and this and that, and like it's kind of giving like you're arrogant, like you're not really like you're talking, but you're not, like it's kind of coming off as like it's arrogant. And I was just like, like I took that as more like, okay, it's like constructive criticism. So like I kind of made this project Most Wanted more special lyrically and like storytelling wise. And like I'm glad she told me that, because it re-sparked everything like I've learned and come through these past couple years making music. And it's just like, like that piece is kind of like the staple piece of like the type of shit I'm coming out with now. Like, cause I already got like 3 more like projects I'm working on right now. Like I got, like my little alternative rock type shit. I got more rap stuff coming out totally, always. But I'm this new age of Vicious is gonna be more of like what Most Wanted was, and I named it Most Wanted because I feel like a lot of people don't like me. And Most Wanted in like a good way, bad way type shit. And just like with my past with the law, all that, it's everything kind of plays in together. But yeah, like that project, that's probably one of my favorite projects I've dropped so far, besides Queen of Hearts. Actually, those 2 projects this year really, I feel like captivate and capsulize who I really am and who I'm becoming as an artist, because my last project I dropped was Letters from Hell when I first started making music. That was like my first ever project, and that was like the last EP I ever dropped. I didn't really drop like a project. It's always been like singles, because I thought singles did better, and nobody really gives a fuck about albums or EPs. But I really am starting to really like dropping full length shit now, because it's it's kind of like it's like a time stamp too, with shit. It's better than just a single here every other month. I feel like people get burnt out on that too. So yeah, that project definitely re-sparked my whole creative. It kind of revived me, honestly. So that's kind of like the wave I'm trying to be on now. I'm always going to be growing as an artist, as everybody is, and I'm getting older. So, it's like kind of like I cringe at my old music. I'm just like, oh my God, like, I'm like, I can't believe I was saying that. But I was so young, and naive, and I didn't think my music would be popular and like to the extent that it is now. Like I didn't give a fuck about being cringe or, whatever. But now I'm like, yeah, I gotta make up for that. Like I gotta show people like this is who I am, But like that's still me, at the end of the day. But yeah, the project's definitely one of my favorites I've dropped in a minute, So
we're coming up on.
We're coming.
We're coming.
Jupe came early. I came last. Inside joke.
It cut out the second I fucking said that. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
We're coming up on 2025. What can we expect for the future of Vampira?
Wait, can we restart that whole? I'm sorry. I'm laughing.
This is probably will be kept in.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
What can we expect for the future of Vicious Vampira?
I definitely want to drop a couple more projects, but I'm more focused on doing the music videos. I think I really need to start making more music videos. Like I've already established myself as an artist, I'd say, you know, and like my vibe, my sound, and I think I gotta like up my image a little bit, you know, and like really put myself out there, you know, because like the last little visual I dropped was like the mic drop video of Cerberus from Most Wanted.
That went harder than it needed to be.
Yeah, it did.
I was when you first started
Shout out Grammy Visuals.
previewing that, I was like, oh, mic drop, but I was like, oh no, this is actually like a tough just music video.
Yeah,
Like,
it
we're
kind of is
from-
like a music video. Yeah.
Like usually when I see those kind of like mic drop things, I'm like, oh okay, but like for music, I'm like, no, this actually like fucks for like just a music video.
And that's like my part of town that I really fuck with, like in the arts district on Main Street. Like you'll always catch me there. And what's funny is the guy who shot my video, he was like, I actually seen you walking down here with your friends a couple weeks ago. And he was like, I knew that was you. He's like, I've never met you in real life. Like that was my first time meeting him, was like in real life was the video. But he was like, when I seen you walking, I knew that was you. So like that's like my area, you know. And it was weird because like there was like an Amy Winehouse like graffiti
Like
like
a
print
mural?
up, and yeah, like, and I've been in that area of town all the time. I've never seen anything with Amy Winehouse ever.
That's weird.
And the,
like
the,
in
the
Vegas
alleyway I
specifically?
picked out, yeah, I've never seen nothing with her there. So like
Divine intervention.
it was, and like what the poster said, it said legends never die in the corner too, and like I wanted to cry. I was like, holy shit, because I had already scoped out the scenery. I'm gonna scope the scenery out. I already scoped it out, the scenery where I wanted to shoot, and I was like, yeah, I like this alleyway because it's right behind Cornish Pasty. It's a bar and like a restaurant, and I was like, yeah, I like this spot. This is cool. Nobody comes through here. It's cool. Right behind right behind Main Street, and the last time I was there, I did not see that poster of Amy there. So like when I went, I was like, what's that? I was like, is that Amy Winehouse? And I was like, what the fuck? And I told him, I was like, I want her in the background. And he was like, yeah, totally. Yeah, it's cool. And she's my wallpaper now from that, yeah. It was really surreal. And like seeing that kind of, you know, I'm very spiritual and I don't think things are coincidences. So like seeing that made me feel like she was like, talk your shit.
Yeah.
Do your shit. And like that, I haven't had a good quality video like that in a long time. And like I said, I just want to up my content, put myself out there more, you know, and yeah, that video was crazy. I didn't think it would be like, you know, like I knew it was gonna be good. Like I knew bro had a good camera and all that, and he was a good videographer, but I wasn't expecting to see myself like that. I was like, oh shit.
All right. We could probably talk for 15,000 hours, but you know, we got to keep it exclusive and rare.
Yeah. I think they heard enough. For the mysterious vibe it's over now. They know who I really am now. But it's all good.
Do you have any closing messages for the real Vicious Vampira fans and or ones that are chronically online, staying tapped in with who you are and what's up?
I think the most important thing in life is maintaining your peace, your mental health, despite, you know, anything else. That is always going to come first. But if you feel called to do or say something or post something, do it. Because, you know, like I said earlier in this video, if I didn't reach out to my friends about making music, I really don't think I'd be doing this at all. I really don't. Because I was even considering not messaging that to them. And, you know, like I said, you know, life's too short. And just the way I grew up, you know, feeling like I'm not good enough and all that. Don't ever let anybody make you feel like that. Life's too short. You know, we're all not perfect. We're all human. You know, you should just be happy with who you are. Unique is better than being like the rest, and don't be a sheep. So, you know, keep your head up. If you feel called to do something in life, do it. And, you know, if anybody's fucking with you, fuck them. And you stand on
Fuck
all
'em.
10 toes and you keep your chin up and be like, fuck y'all. Fuck it. We ball. You know? Live
it, we
life,
ball.
take care of yourself. And I really appreciate everybody who's been here from the jump or even just come across even from my stupid TikToks. Like, I love every single one of you guys, and I just hope the best for you all. For real. And that's what I got to say.
All right, this has been the motherfucking Halloweenville podcast.
The motherfucking Halloween podcast. Halloweenville. That's
This
the
is-
Halloween podcast.
I hate the name, so don't blame you.
The spooky podcast.
It's a fucking honor. This is just the first money move of many. Fuck it, we ball.
Fuck it, we ball.
Good night.
Good night.
Y'all.